Welcome to Special Assignments News on News. I'm Ted Wansley. We continue with our coverage of the censorship of Ron Paul. As the 2008 presidential campaign proceeds, corporate media outlets are shamelessly discrediting themselves with even more overt acts of censorship against Ron Paul, this time at CBS. Here's a screenshot of a CBS article on the GOP candidates campaigning in Iowa. It's dated December 30th, just a few days before the Iowa caucus of January 3rd. As you can see, Ron Paul is excluded from the photos. Ron Paul collected nearly 3 times as many votes as Giuliani 4 days later, yet is replaced in this article by the GOP elephant icon below the photo of Giuliani. Before the New Hampshire primary, Fox News had a GOP candidate debate. This time, Ron Paul wasn't invited. Tonight Show host Jay Leno had Ron Paul on as a guest to discuss the censorship.
Here's something interesting. I found out about this sort of on my own. We went, hey, where's Ron Paul? And then we made some phone calls. You weren't. I saw you interviewed with Wolf Blitzer on CNN. It wasn't mentioned. I don't think, and I don't want to be unfair, I didn't see it on MSNBC or any of the other cable channels. I mean, it seems like a big story. One of the major candidates, or certainly major in terms of you have as much prestige as anybody else in fundraising, is left out. Why was this?
CNN's Wolf Blitzer must not want his viewers to know about Ron Paul. Watch as he omits Ron Paul from the pie graph despite Ron's victory over Giuliani.
Reporting, take a look at this. John McCain, we project he will win the New Hampshire primary tonight. So far, he's got 37%. Mitt Romney, 28%. Mike Huckabee, 12%. The winner of the Iowa caucuses, Rudy Giuliani, 9%. Big news for John McCain.
It gets worse and worse as the establishment goes into a full-scale attack on the man who promises to liberate Americans from their yoke. The New York Times, once esteemed as the best newspaper in the world, reveals itself to be a mere propaganda tool of the establishment. LouRockwell.com reports. New York Times, January 19th, 08. A report on primary election results, featuring all candidates in the race, except for one, Ron Paul. Ron Paul had just come in second in Nevada. The New York Times doesn't want their readers to know. Efforts to censor Ron Paul aren't limited to the U.S. corporate media. Here's some dirty work by the British Broadcasting Corporation. This BBC article on U.S. elections features 4 GOP candidates with their positions on Iraq and Iran. Rudy Giuliani, Mike Huckabee, John McCain, and Mitt Romney are featured. Despite Ron Paul's unique position on U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East, and despite his recent second-place caucus victories in Nevada and Louisiana, he's completely omitted. Fox News again censors Ron Paul from their coverage of the primaries. This time the abuse is glaring. ThirdPartyWatch.com posted this screenshot of a Fox report. Ron Paul took second place in the Nevada caucuses, yet he's black curtained from the report. They have Romney at 46%, McCain at 15%, and Huckabee at 8%. That only adds up to 69%. Are Fox News viewers capable of doing the math to observe someone's missing? MSNBC has been the least hostile to Ron Paul, with Keith Olbermann announcing his lead in their online poll and Jay Leno having him on as a guest. But in late January, during their Florida Republican debate, MSNBC clearly tried to marginalize Ron Paul. Here's the report from ConnieTalk.com. MSNBC's Florida Republican debate. During the 90-minute event, Ron Paul was given a total of 6 minutes and 31 seconds to respond to questions. Let's compare times. Romney, 21 minutes. McCain, 16 minutes. Giuliani, 13 minutes. Huckabee, 12 minutes. Ron Paul, 6 minutes and 31 seconds. That's 1/3 the amount of time that Romney was given. Despite Ron Paul's dominance on internet polls, scientific polls give him low ratings. Here's a telephone opinion poll that's scientifically designed to misrepresent public opinion. B.J. Lawson from WordPress.com brings us this reality check.
Hello, this is IMC Polling, calling with a one-question opinion poll regarding the 2008 Republican presidential primary.
Okay. What do you want me to
Your
say?
primary election was held today. Who would you vote for? Press 1 for John McCain. Press 2 for Rudy Giuliani. Press 3 for Fred Thompson. Press 4 for Mitt Romney. Press 5 for Mike Huckabee. Press 6 for other or none of the above. Press 7 to no longer receive these types of calls.
Thank you. The number we contacted you on will be removed from any future messaging lists. We apologize for any inconvenience this call may have caused. Goodbye.
He pressed the 6 key for none of the above, but the poll reacts as though he hit 7 for remove me from the list. Now he proves he hit the 6 key. Listen to the tones.
Press 7 to no longer receive these types of calls. Press 7 to no longer receive these types of calls.
Because he didn't select one of their choices, his opinions are forever censored. That phone poll was produced and administered by InfoCision Management Corporation from Akron, Ohio. Fox News, which ironically claims to be fair and balanced, has been the most abusive in censoring Ron Paul. Here's a clip of a cheap shot delivered by Fox News correspondent Carl Cameron during a debate.
Another question about electability. Do you have any, sir? There's always the question as to whether or not you are in fact viable. Your differences with the Republicans with the rest of the Republicans on this stage has raised questions about whether or not you can actually win the Republican nomination, sir.
Now watch this portion of Ron Paul's response that evokes a loud applause.
Let me see if I get this right. We need to borrow $10 billion from China, and then we give it to Musharraf, who's a military dictator who overthrew an elected government, and then we go to war, we lose all these lives promoting democracy in Iraq. I mean, what's going on here? And you're saying that this isn't appealing to Republicans?
The debate was broadcast live, so Fox couldn't censor Ron Paul's response at the time. However, Ron Paul's response was edited out before the debate was re-aired, not fair and balanced. One note in closing. The information we've just reviewed clearly shows a determined effort by the corporate media to prevent Ron Paul from winning the Republican candidacy and the presidential election. They shamelessly censor Ron Paul and misrepresent fact, no holds barred. When a television network or major newspaper reports low ratings for Ron Paul in one of their scientific polls, are we to believe them? Remember, they control the methods and the results of the poll. They have both the motive and the opportunity to misrepresent the facts. Personally, I don't believe a word they say. That concludes Special Assignment's News on News broadcast on the censorship of Ron Paul. I'm Ted Wansley. Farewell.